Hey guys, my PAR lesson is for 8th grade English, and my TEK is 8th grade English 9D and E. So it talks about listening, speaking, reading, writing, and thinking using multiple texts. Talks about a bunch of different stuff, and then the student is expected to describe how the author's use of figurative language, such as extended metaphor, achieves specific purposes, and identify and analyze the use of literary devices, including multiple points of view and irony. So my content objective is students will identify figurative language and literary devices in the story Lamb to the Slaughter by Roald Dahl. And my language objective is students will read the short story and create a KWL chart about the literary devices and figurative language in the story. Whenever I think about PAR lessons, I automatically think of KWL charts. So that's a big part of my lesson. So for the preparation phase, before reading the story, I'm going to have the students fill out a concept guide to rate their knowledge of certain vocabulary words and concepts that have to do with the passage. So there's only 5 words, so it'll be quick. So the words are symbolism, oxymoron, illusion, imagery, and irony. And then they're going to rate their knowledge of how they know it from 0 to 5. 0 meaning they know nothing about the term, and 5 meaning they know exactly what it means. So they're going to do that at first, and then students will also use a KWL chart over their knowledge of the story. So a template will be provided, and it's attached in my lesson plan. And so a template will be provided, and they'll fill it out. So just by looking at the title, they're going to write down what they know. So the title is A Lamb to the Slaughter. They know something is slaughtered, something dies, or someone. They don't know exactly what. And then they also know that, or they should know that the word slaughter means like murder. And the word lamb suggests purity and innocence. Those are just like some examples of things that they could, that they might know. And then they're also going to fill out the W section for the KWL chart for things they might want to know. So they could write who or what is killed in the story. What does a lamb have to do with it? Is there symbolism with lamb? So those are just some examples of what they could put for that. So that is all for the preparation phase. And then for the assistance phase, the teacher will provide definitions for each of the terms that were on the concept guide, and they'll go over it. Students may already know these words, but the teacher will just go over them and provide exact definitions, and so that they know what to look for when reading the passage, and that way they might be able to figure out, oh, this is an oxymoron, whatever. So then the class will read the passage together. It's only, I think, 4 pages, front and back, and all the students will get a copy. And the whole class will read it together using like popcorn reading, and that will allow the class to stay at the same pace when reading it, so they can all experience it together. And then while reading, the teacher will provide assistance by pointing out some of the figurative language that they went over. So it'd be like, now notice this sentence is an example of blank, just so they can kind of put some pieces together and figure out, oh, here's an example of this word. So like, for instance, in the 6th paragraph, the teacher will point out that the phrase alone together is an oxymoron. So another option would be to let the students read them, and if they notice any of the terms, they could point it out with the guidance of the teacher. And then while reading, students will also be able to think about what they have written down on their KWL chart so far, and then this will help them figure out what they're going to put in the L section for the chart later on. And then after the students finish reading it, the teacher will group off the students into groups of 4 or 5, and then they'll discuss any thoughts they had about the story. And then during their discussion, they'll also talk about some figurative language that they noticed that the teacher hadn't pointed out. And then after that, teacher will provide the students with a link that leads to a website that will give them further information about literary devices in the story. And I have attached the website, and it kind of goes deeper into some deeper meanings of like the figurative language in it and the symbolism. So that was assistance. And then for reflection, after students have read through the website that was provided, they're going to go back to their seats and fill out the L portion in their KWL chart. So some examples that they could put in there are like, I learned that the person who died was the main character's husband. I learned that the main character is the one who murdered him. Or I learned that the way the story ended was ironic. So that's an example of irony, which was a term in the concept guide at the beginning. So once students have finished their KWL charts, they'll turn those in for an assignment grade. And then after that, students will go back through their copy of the story, and they're going to highlight any literary devices that they noticed and that they previously learned about. They might, doing this, they might also catch some that they had missed before. And this will, also they will, on a separate piece of paper, they're going to write down the literary devices that they found. Examples like from the story with citations, saying like, oh, it's on this page, this paragraph, this line. And then, so they're gonna like write down all the examples they found, and then they will turn that in as an exit ticket. And doing this will allow the students to reflect on what they learned about literary devices and figurative language, and to apply it to the story that they read. It'll also allow them to reflect back on the story itself to see if they missed anything the first time they read it. So, yeah, that is my lesson plan. I'm sorry I'm posting this so late. Yeah, all the attachments are provided in the lesson plan if you want to go check that out. Yeah, that is it. Thank you.